So I'm unboxing my first film camera today. 10 years ago, I was using a crappy $50 Olympus waterproof camera to film skits like this. And now we here, finally, with my first entry-level cinema camera. I know a lot of bougie film heads is not gonna really see this as a big deal, but I'm from the hood. And for my fans that know me, this is a pretty big ass deal for me. Anyway, I will not prolong the cheesy coming of age story for any longer. Let's get right to it. Alright, so this is a lot of stuff. I got this wedding / documentary kit off this B&H Bondu they had. This is not a sponsorship, by the way. I'm just telling y'all what I did. Instead of paying $3,700 for just the camera body by itself with nothing, I paid $5,000 and it came with the Ronin, it came with like a whole lav mic, and it came with this really nice case. And good cases for cameras like these run for about $500. A lot of the reviews on the bundle actually were bad because people were saying that the Ronin was incompatible with such a large camera. However, this is not the only camera I'm going to be using anyway. I also use Sony A7S's, or if I'm renting or if I'm using a DSLR, I could always still use this Ronin. It's still going to come in handy regardless. So it was all about knowing what my necessities were and knowing that I could still use this Ronin even if I can't use all the settings for this camera. So it came with this wireless lav mic, the Sennheiser. For those of you that already know about my Afro-Asian documentary, this will come super in handy. So the battery for the Ronin. So we got a boxception going on here. It's a package within a package. My cats are gonna have a ball with this one. It has wheels on it, which is pretty cool, but I don't know, the wheels seem plastic. It's pretty useful that the case is actually already cut out for you. The foam in the case is like pretty hard too. It's not like that super soft foam that doesn't really add any kind of protection. Like this actually will absorb shock type shit. The only thing I'm iffy about is like this casing. It seems like plasticky and doesn't feel very premium. Even the plastic on the hinges, like when I do this, like feel a little bit like flimsy. Not super convincing, but it's waterproof. Let's unbox the actual camera now. Manuals. Thank God there was no styrofoam in this because I just swept my damn carpet. I was actually scared that it wouldn't come with a battery, but I do have 2 batteries coming in the mail. This is the actual body of it. Oh, it's actually way smaller than I thought it was. It's a cute little camera. Here it is. I've used the C500, which made me want to get the C100 because the C500 is $20,000. Definitely cool that it has the flip out camera, great for when I'm doing videos like this. The battery slot is like open, which is a little concerning when it comes to dust. I don't know. See, the model I was gonna get with the body only, I don't even think came with this handle that has the XLR inputs right on here. That way you can just plug a microphone right into this. I like this little handle on the side because the C500 deadass doesn't have this. This is like super ergonomic right here. Like this feels mad secure in my hands. I was saying that I wasn't gonna run and gun with this, but I feel like I could deadass like run around with this. You got the record button right on the side as if you're just taking pictures. A ton of buttons that you can use so you don't have to keep going back to the menus. The ND filter is right there, which is super convenient. This is the lens that I got for it just to use on a regular basis for my YouTube videos, you know, the Tamron. Super versatile lens. I would recommend anyone to get this if they're looking to get a lens that's not super expensive. I got it for like $668. It's a video lens, so it zooms in from 24 to 70 without losing the aperture like on a lot of lenses. Like you can stay on 2.8 and when you zoom in it won't go up to like 5.6 like a regular kit lens would. This is the lens that I used for Kemba's video on the Sony A6000. Of course, for professional works in the future using this camera, I probably would just rent and not use this. Sorry guys, I just love the smell of books. What's dope about these cameras is that you could then just plug this into the AC power, so you don't even have to waste batteries unless you're really outside and you really need to be mobile. Like if I'm just doing videos in my crib, I would just hook it up. The whack thing about this camera is that it only takes SD cards. The slow motion only goes up to 60 frames per second, but honestly, I can count the amount of times that I really need to use organic slow motion. Those remote times that I need slow motion, I could just like rent an A7S II or something. SD cards for something like this, when you shoot in documentary or wedding footage, kind of sucks because SD cards are not as fast. I mean, at least I don't have to spend $150 on C-Fast cards, I guess. There's so many buttons on this thing that I could see why someone might be overwhelmed by this, but it's like more buttons is good because you can assign like any function to any of the numbered buttons on here. People are gonna be like, oh, you could have gotten the Sony a7S II and it has better specs. Could have gotten the GH5 or the Sony FS7. Sony FS7, to be honest with you, looks trash. The colors and the sharpness just looks bad compared to the cinematic look that the C100 gives you. I was using Sony for a long time. I was jumping back and forth between Sony and Canon because I would borrow cameras from friends to shoot music videos with, and I've shot most of my music videos with Sony cameras, and there was just something about the colors that I really just did not like while I was grading it. And I had at it for a long time and just wasn't my thing, man. I guess it's just a matter of taste, really. Sony's workflow is really annoying when it comes to just changing settings really fast as well. Like on the C500 or the C300 or the C100, I found myself just changing the ISO really quickly, like 5 seconds before a shot, because you have all these preset buttons that you could just assign really fast. So yeah, not trashing Sony or anything, not saying that I have like the most professional opinion in the world. It was just my preference to buy a camera like this than to just jump on the mirrorless bandwagon, honestly. Especially considering the fact that every time a mirrorless camera comes out, the thing becomes obsolete in a matter of years. Whereas when you buy a cinema camera, the investment actually has a little bit more of some kind of longevity. After DSLRs became so popular and the Tumblr craze and the mirrorless camera started coming out and a lot of indie directors really started loving that camera, yes, those are lightweight, yes, those things are very cool, they're very cheap, they're very affordable, but at the end of the day, I don't want to feel like crap the way an Apple user feels when he buys the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X comes out like a year later. I'd rather buy me a camera that's really going to deliver for a really long time and buy more lenses, not constantly be buying a new body every 1 or 2 years. I've been rocking with this Canon T3i, which isn't even my camera, for like the past 3 years since my Nikon was stolen. So I would never had any kind of interest in buying something like the Red or the Sony A9 just because of the hype behind it. I really sat here for like years, like wondering when I'm gonna buy my next camera and what the camera would be. So yeah, I know this camera does not shoot in 4K. Yeah, I know that there may be cameras that you find better for a better price for your particular needs. But when it comes to filmmaking, it really is just the tools that you want to use. It really is the story that you want to tell. This is my baby. It may not be your baby. You know, it's cool to ask what kind of gear your favorite creator is using, but at the end of the day, it really is what works for you. Don't let somebody tell you what camera you need to get for your needs. Go out there, do your research, spend some time. You don't have to take no 2-3 years like I did, but don't buy it right away. Maybe rent it, maybe borrow from some friends. Get out there and just experiment with different cameras and use the camera. Don't let Sony just sell you on specs. Don't let Canon do it. Don't let Panasonic do it. Use the camera and see what feels better for your necessities. Because if specs really were everything, then you would see everybody out here filming on their iPhone X's just because they say they got 4K footage with 120 frames per second. Thank you so much for all my patrons that have contributed to my success, and even the people that aren't my patrons that have been sticking around since I was 11 years old making paper gun videos with shitty cameras. Me buying a cinema camera is more than me just saying, hey, the videos are gonna start looking better. Me uploading this video is more like a time capsule for myself to look back on a milestone and a very big step that I took. I'm from the hood. This is an expensive ass camera. I spent a year building up my credit just so I could do something like this, and this is a step in me also just becoming a responsible adult. You know, this is me separating the sweet little boy that did the Old Spice to doing kind of some big boy things. You know what I'm saying? Big boy things. For those of you that are thinking of going out and buying this camera just because you got the money and your favorite YouTuber Almonte got the camera, slow your roll, relax. You don't need to have the fanciest DSLR. You don't even have to have a DSLR at all to make videos. Start videos on your phone.
Start videos with whatever you have for right now. Stop waiting. Stop waiting until you have the right equipment. You need to do with what you have, because if you keep waiting on when you have the right gear, that right time is never gonna come for you. I promise you that. Because even now, I'm still not satisfied with the amount of resources that I have. But no matter what, I'm gonna use what I have to do what I can. If I would have waited all this time to wait till I somehow magically had all these things in my hand, wouldn't have learned anything. And I probably wouldn't be sitting here showing you this camera in the first place. I probably wouldn't have even been able to buy this had I not started with the crappy cell phone videos, handycam action flicks. This was on Monte. I'm about to go spank my meat on this Super 35 sensor. I'ma holla at you. Eastside, Harlem reppin'.
Shouts to my Latinum niggas. All my Latin niggas going platinum niggas. Love to the black real niggas. They say we monkeys with banana clips that appeal niggas. Gotta never judge when he finna deal with us. They represent the warriors and they reveal niggas. Rest in peace is ill, but a nigga still with us. If it wasn't for the spirit, would they try to kill niggas like what? Y'all niggas tripping like a Westbrook interview. I mean, where was the love when I hit rock bottom? But I blow when I'm supposed to remember you. Y'all make a nigga lose hope.